anymore either, which is really disappointing.
Would you guys rather be, this is not a sports question, but it's related to what you're talking about, Hayes. Would you rather be a musician who has like one amazing song, but nobody else remembers anything else you did? Or you're just like, you're good, you're solid, but you're not really breaking through? Like,
that's a great question. What do you think would make more money? Probably a one-hit wonder. Do you think a one-hit wonder makes more money?
I think a steady touring, you put out decent albums. No one, like, you have your little band. You
got a
your
following.
Fans, yeah, but like people don't really know you. It's kind of like, would you rather get to like one Wimbledon final and like maybe you don't win, or you're just like a
consistently
grinder
on tour for like 12 years and not bad, couple of endorsement deals. Yeah, I'd probably take the longevity, I guess, when you put it that way. But if you give me the option to actually win a slam, I'm taking the win. Like, if I'm Bianca Andreescu, obviously she's still young enough. I'm sure she's got confidence that she can get back into the swing of things. But they can never take that U.S. Open away from her. Like, she's got it. You have a slam. Like, and that's a lot of money. The amount of endorsement money she made from that, like, she blew up. She was the biggest thing in Canada following that. You can't. That's a better career than someone who, a Pospisil or something like that, who was just on tour for a long time, good player, made some money, competed here or there. I'll take the big splash and then kind of fade.
That's the equivalent of the one-hit wonder, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, that's the truth. I think that's how you'd have to define Bianca Andreescu's career. Like, Jeannie didn't win. Jeannie was competitive for a year and a half, 2 years, but never ended up winning a slam. But yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, the Canadian tennis has had these like ebbs and flows over the last decade, where I thought Shapovalov would be more competitive, and a number of other guys, and just hasn't really played out that way.
Doesn't everybody want their moment, though? Don't you want to have that one moment where you are on top? And so, like, look, I played NHL a long time, and I think it'll be unlikely I go down in history as one of the top 100 defensemen of all time. And at this point, Makar has probably taken my spot. So, I was there. I was there a long time, but I was never at the very top, right? Now, I guess I was at the top, but I wasn't at the top at the top. So, I guess, what I traded all for 1 year of just insane hockey played by me, I might.
Yeah, like at Norris season, and then 3 years later you're out of the league.
Yeah.
I think
like Jim
that.
Carrey, the goalie. Remember, wasn't that the guy, the net detective?
The net detective.
Great nickname.
He won a Vezina, right? Didn't he win Rookie of the Year and a Vezina?
I think he did.
Yeah, and then again, 2-3 years later, you couldn't find him. For the most part. All right, Jays Giants tonight, the unofficial second half, beginning down at the Rogers Center. Chris Bassett on the mound against Justin Verlander. And here's our TSN Baseball Insider joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Here's Steve Phillips. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great. Good to be with you.
Great to be with you. And we've been more pumping up the fact that Verlander's in town, and this very well could be the last time he pitches in Toronto. I believe he has 2 no-hitters against the Jays at the Rogers Center. So he loves this building. He's obviously going to the Hall of Fame. He's an all-time great. Curious, where he ranks for you. You don't have to give me a specific slotting, but in terms of the great pitchers of all time, like, is he top 20, top 30, 40, 50? Where would Verlander fall on the Steve Phillips list?
Yeah, I think that he's, I've got him behind Pedro Martinez in that range. I think Pedro was more dominant than Verlander was, but Verlander, clearly a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. I have ahead of Messina on the list to give you some sense as to where they go. But, yeah, I think he's probably, if you start to look at it, probably top 25. He was a guy that when he first came up, he would go out and he would throw 95, 96 in the first few innings of the game. And then he would want to throw 99 on his 99th pitch in the game. And he did. He held back early, so he had more fastball to go to later. And he just really was just such a dominant pitcher and so competitive on the mound. And, it's a shame because he's 0-7 this year. He's yet to get a win. And, you know, he's searching for it a little bit right now. The guy who threw a couple no-hitters isn't around anymore. He's really searching for it. And so, you know, he's just not the same pitcher. I mean, he's competitive. He keeps them in the game, but they've not scored enough. So I certainly would hope the Jays come out swinging aggressively on him.
Yeah, that's certainly got to be the plan going into tonight. And, you know, it's a big series for them to start at home coming out of the break. They stumbled a little bit, you know, coming down the stretch, losing 3 of 4 to Chicago and the Athletics. But now that you're reset, you know, all eyes appear to be on Vladdy. Putting him aside, is there another guy on the order, specifically, you know, one of the hitters that you have your eyes on that you believe should be relishing this opportunity, considering where the team is, how good they've been playing? If so, who is that guy?
Well, for me, I mean, look. I mean, they've gotten a lot out of Clement and Addison Barger and Springer and Kirk. I mean, and Lucas. To me, it comes down to Bichette and Guerrero. That I think there's likely to be some regression in the complementary players. They've all played very well. But the league's going to make an adjustment to them, and it may take them a little bit of time to adjust back. And in the meantime, it's not that Vladdy and Bichette have been bad. They've not. They've been good, but you know they're better than good, and they need to drive the baseball. They need to slug, and that part of their game has to blossom right now. And I do think that you know coming out of the All-Star break, I think that what I would want, and I always thought this with a manager. You've got to come out and force action, force movement. I would start runners. I would get guys moving. I would steal bases. I would hit and run. I think you've got to create movement and not make it passive. Don't make it, you know, base to base and do everything. Try to force things to happen so you get your players jump-started into energy in the game. And so it'll be interesting to see how John Schneider goes out there and tries to manage it, because to me it's all about movement and action when you come out of a 4-day layoff.
Steve, is there one of those guys you mentioned, the first half surprises, that you think is best set up to keep this up in the second half?
Well, you know, Springer, the veteran, at least has some idea about the grind of an entire season. You know, one of the things that young position players need to learn is just, you know, how to grind out 162 games. Even the minor league season is shorter than the major league season, and it's different. In those dog days, where it starts getting hot and you're in August, they got a book on you now where they've seen you a couple times. You're facing those teams the second time around, and they're all going to start to attack the weakness. But, you know, I think Barger, to me, was so critical because without Santander, they needed a left-handed bat to give them some thunder. And, you know, I think that Springer's been the most valuable player, but I think that Barger's been the most important player for them, because you take him out of the mix and what he did and the timing with which he did some of those things and the left-handed nature of it, which allowed the right-handers on either side of him to not have a right-handed pitcher get into a rhythm where you can start to throw slider, you know, split, two-seam fastball, and you get into a rhythm if you have a bunch of right-handers in a row. So Barger's been big, and I think it's important for them that he keeps going. But in the meantime, when Santander and Varsho come back,